day to you wherever you are watching us. It's Bold TV brought to you by Bold Heart Initiative. And we, the beautiful ladies, are here once again this Saturday to bring to you issues around women and girls with disabilities. And today is not going to be an exception. You get to join us every Saturday on Facebook, on YouTube. 10:30 is the time, and we'll take you through our conversation as always. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for standing by us this time and always. We also want to join you to continue the support. Keep sharing, keep liking, keep reaching out to us, either of the host on the show. For your support, it is highly appreciated. My name is Oluwatomisin Adeyefa. I'm a visually impaired person. I'm a broadcast journalist and a disability and gender rights advocate. I would be your host for today. And what are we talking about? We're talking about para sports, especially as it concerns women and girls with disabilities. Our topic, women with disabilities in sport, the medals and metals. Is the topic for today. And we want you to sit back, relax, keep watching, and keep listening. I've got guest appearances, women with disabilities who are into sporting activities in Nigeria. Talk about para sports, and I've also got my co-host. So I would be giving my guest appearances the privilege to tell us their names, what they do, what kind of sports they are into, and if they have any other thing they do on the side, they should let us know their kind of disability very quickly. So I'll start with Evelyn.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us once again. My name is Evelyn Paragon. I'm a para table tennis player. I play sitting on a wheelchair. I also play standing, but I use a walking stick when I play. And then, apart from sports, I write, I talk, I'm a speaker, I talk, I do some other stuff. I like cooking. I cook too for those who want my services. So I'm an all-round person. I fix phones too. I sell mobile accessories. So lots and lots and lots of things to forge ahead. That's what I do. And it's nice being here once again.
My name is Justina Mokwe. I am visually impaired. I am an athlete for Lagos State. I'm into powerlifting and throws, that is shot put, discus, and javelin to be precise. I work for Custodian Life Assurance, Ikeja branch. I'm an entrepreneur. I love traveling. I love singing. And I love things that are very, very adventurous. Thank you.
My name is Coach Amolela Shangodeyi Akibode. Shangode is my father's name. Akibode is my husband's name. I started sports when I was in JS2. That was 1992. That's known as Paralympic game.
So, ladies and gentlemen, to the co-host, very quickly, introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be here. It's another beautiful Saturday morning. My name is Afion Etem. I'm a member of Bold Hearts Initiative, lab scientist based in Uyo, and a survivor of spinal cord injury. I use a wheelchair.
Hi, everyone. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Bold TV. My name is Freki Andresian. I'm based in Port Harcourt in Rivers State. I use a wheelchair from spinal cord injury. Executive Director of Baker Foundation, a public health professional, and a member of Bold Hearts Initiative. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ladies, for being on the show. And like I said, we are talking about women with disabilities in sports, the medals and metals. And it might interest you to know that Nigeria made its debut appearance at the Paralympic sport at the Summer Olympics in 1992. 30 years down the line, Nigeria has continued to participate in parasports in games across the world. And according to the Minister for Sport, Youth and Sport, Sunday Dari, earlier this year, while addressing a group of journalists, he made mention that Paralympians and indeed parasports has won Nigeria more awards than the regular sport. And that's to say that some persons in the para sport industry are doing what they are supposed to be doing, and they are bringing home the gold medals. Need I tell you that in 1992, when Nigeria made its debut appearance, Paralympians won 3 gold medals back home. That was some 30 years ago. And year in, year out, every 4 years when the Olympics is here, they've gone and they've continued to conquer. So women with disabilities are amongst their peers, and we've also seen that sometimes what a man can do when it comes to parasport, women, and indeed women with disabilities can do better and nicer things in that aspect. And we've got 3 amazing women who will be talking to us. Evelyn says she plays the table tennis. Coach Omolola also does powerlifting. In fact, she's a coach. So she coaches fellow athletes. That would interest you to know. And we've also got Justina, who is an athlete for Lagos State, and she's into throws as a visually impaired person. We want to know how they came into having sport or sporting activity, para sports to be precise, as a career. And I would like Justina to quickly take us through that journey. How did it start for you, especially considering the fact that you're a woman with disability? How did you find sport as a career and a passion?
Thank you, Princess Tomisin. It started in 2016 when I lost my vision. I was thinking of what are the things I can do with my body without creating any barrier to my getting a means of livelihood. So I had this passion right from childhood to be a thrower, but I met one of my friends, Mr. Kekere, who introduced me into the sport, and that was it. That was how I started. Before I knew it, my first appearance, how I would come to powerlifting. That was how I started. Until date, I'm still into it as a thrower and a powerlifting. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so Evelyn, very quickly, let's have your story. How did you find sports? Or how did sports find you?
Did develop an interest in sports in school, in secondary school. But there was this issue that a challenged person could not do sports. I actually liked throwing then when we were training for my inter-house sports, and then they stopped me from doing it, the housemaster. And then there were 2 seniors, Nkechi and Blessing, I can't forget their name. They said something that one day saying she shouldn't be on TV doing sports. I didn't really take it lightly or put any thought to it. I did leave that school, and then we had another inter-house sport. I was in the stadium when a coach called me. His name is Mr. Sasui. Come and do sports, and I just went with him to tennis, and it's been fun all the way. I've enjoyed every ride. Downtime has always been my journey to start at 2005.
The network was very draggy, but I mean, a few things I could pick from what you said. You said that you started sports. You've always loved sports as a secondary school student, and thanks to some of your seniors,
Yes.
you mentioned their names, Nkechi and Blessing, who helped you further develop that
Yes.
passion for sports. And then, you met someone who introduced you into sport as a person with a disability. And today, the rest is history. Coach Omolola, now to you. How did you find sports, or how did sports find you? I remember you said earlier that you started sports in 1992. How come? That's some 30 years ago.
Let me first start from the beginning of my life. I started my sport in 1992. That's known as Spain 1992 Paralympics. That time my mom refused. She refused that I should not go into this sport. That there are serious war in sports. I said, Mom, forget about war. For me, I will do this sport. That's when I was in there, but unfortunately, I went to Spain, come back without medal. After that, I did not even hear anything from Federation again. It was until 2005 when I was working at the Gate Hotel. I work at the Gate Hotel. I'm a caterer, professional caterer. But unfortunately, I just decided that I must do this first. I must continue this first. It's a long story. That's how I'm starting the songs. I'm starting to short it. I said I'm going to continue this first until 2006 when I went to Commonwealth member Australia 2006. No medal again. I said, I know that I will win medal for Nigeria one day. I continued my sport career. That time I was still in Ghetto Hotel. But unfortunately, that time the Ghetto Hotel people are not giving me much pressure that how can I be going for international competition that I'm still collecting salary under Ghetto Hotel without doing the work. I don't decide to leave the hotel work that to go back to sports high school. And that sports high school, that is the place where my mom retired, my father retired there. So I just decided to go back to sports again 2006. From there, I went to the year 2007 All African Games, no medal again because they did not allow us to participate. 2011, All African Games came. I did not follow them. It was 2012. We went for championship in Dubai. I will go to God be the glory. I really want to go for Nigeria. 100 meters and 200 meters. That's 2012.
Coach Omolola has just told us of our journey into sports. Thank you very much for that one. She's kind of told us of our awards and winning. So very quickly, Evelyn, playing table tennis in parasport, what are your awards and wins?
Okay. Well, I've won them all: gold, silver, bronze. Okay, so I've won them all. My first festival, that was Abuja 2004. I didn't win any individual medal. It was a team gold medal. My second festival, that was Kaduna in 2008, postponed to 2009. I won 1 gold, 1 silver, 1 bronze. My third festival in Port Harcourt, I won 3 gold medals. And then there have been championships where I won gold, silver, bronze. And the last festival I attended was in 2018. I won 1 gold medal. So table tennis has been fun. To the glory of God, it's not by my making, but God has been faithful.
That's amazing, Evelyn. You are a gold, silver, and a bronze carrier in different festivals. Competitive sports, and that congratulations on taking on even a new category, like you said, in the last festival. So the second question is okay, you guys have told us about the games and tournaments that you participated in and awards that you have won.
Yeah.
So Evelyn, I'll ask you this question.
Yeah.
So what challenges do you face as a woman with disabilities in sports? And I wanted to take it on in your family. Have you faced any challenges? What have those challenges been? Omolala had mentioned how when she said she wanted to do sports, her family was not really into it. So I'm asking Evelyn, what challenges do women with have you faced as a woman with disability within your family, if any? And if not, what have you seen other women with disabilities in sports space within the family like challenges? Please go ahead.
Okay. The only time I did face challenge from my family was actually when I was starting, because they were worried. Society with people with disability, the child was worried I could be discriminated, and then I become more isolated. But none of that happened, and because I assured him, and he was relaxed. Now, a lot of women that engage in sports, they'll have the intention of engaging in sport. Sometimes their family deprives them, because there are still some ladies today, despite the civilization around and all, their families still feel if they go out, they'll be discriminated. My motto is, if you keep me inside the house because I will be discriminated, someone will come inside and discriminate you. I was bullied in school a lot by lecturers and some people, classmates. That didn't stop me from going to school. I graduated and I am what I am today. So I believe keeping challenged ladies, especially keeping them behind closed doors because you don't want them to mingle with people or associate, you're not protecting them, you're hurting them in the long run. Protecting them is letting them go outside, express themselves, because they cannot depend on you forever, especially ladies. They can't depend on you forever. So sports is a basic tool that will expose them, that will make them relate differently than when you keep them indoors. So ladies should be exposed to sports, please. It's good, necessary.
Oh, thank you, Evelyn, for that contribution on challenges. When you mentioning that when you wanted to start out, it was a genuine fear from your family. And yes, I expect that, if I go around and ask, most of the ladies about starting and how their family felt, especially in the area of sports in Nigeria, that is not a very secure area, I know that there would be great concern.
All right, Tina, let me come to you. Same question she asked Evelyn about, the challenges you face as a woman with disabilities in sport. What, especially amongst your peers and probably amongst the sporting community, what were some of the challenges you faced when you indicated interest and became, wanted to be part of the sporting community? What were the challenges you faced?
Thank you. At first, when I indicated my interest on going into sports, although my family have been so supportive, they have been so encouraging, but the only thing that really made them want to stop me was the fear, because they believe that I'm visually impaired and I cannot go out alone. But I made them understand that keeping me inside is like them killing my dream. So they understood and they supported me. I didn't really face much challenges from my family. Then
Okay, what about your
um,
peers? What about among your colleagues, fellow sports people?
okay, among my fellow disabled colleagues, there are lots of challenges faced with, especially people living with visually impaired when it comes to sports. Like when we go out for competitions and we are being given some kits, you find out that those with sight are the first to be attended to. Most times they try as much to even discriminate us. They try to make our voice not to be heard. You know, they sideline us most of the time. I think that is a big challenge among our peers. Then when it comes to this sport itself, we are faced with a lot of challenges. That is, as a thrower, I'm talking from my own background, as a thrower from para athletic. Training with the right implements is one major challenges that we are faced with, because you find out that you are not training with the right implements, and most of these implements are being bought from our pockets, and inadequate funding from the government is also one major big challenge that we are faced with. That is why each time we go out there for competitions, we find it very difficult to really perform. But due to our determination and zeal to win, we will try in as much as possible to make sure that we go home with medals. Like from my own story, from where I'm coming from, when I'm doing my throws, I do not have the right, the pitch. I don't train because in National Stadium, we don't have the facilities there are in shambles conditions. So I don't train with the right pitch. I just do it. But when I get to like Abuja Stadium, you find out I will just try I come back home with me. And because of the determination and the grace of God, that's why I've been able to bring back like 6 gold medals with a silver. So there are a lot of challenges: inadequate funding, not training with the right implements, and so many discriminations. At times when we are about, like I qualified for the Tokyo 2021, I was supposed to travel, but you find out that because I'm a person living with disability, visually impaired, they will tell you you are extra luggage, you can't travel. Because why should I spend money taking you visually impaired and your guide instead of taking 2 physically challenged for and bring back medal? So most times, people living with disabilities, especially the visually impaired individuals, are not taking when it comes to international competition, and the fight is still on. That is just it. But by the grace of God, I pray that everything works out fine for us. There are a lot of challenges. I will just stop at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. I'm amazed at your tenacity. It's funny that in a country like this, that we do not value what we have. Every time, I remember when we were growing up watching TV a lot, sports, most of the time when Paralympics were on, the majority of the medals usually came from the Paralympians, compared to their, able-bodied counterparts. And yet you are the ones that are marginalized. It's really amazing. And I commend you, for your resilience and the fact that you keep going in spite of all those difficulties.
It was really an eye-opening time listening to some of these challenges. And I must say that, like I said earlier, even the Minister for Youth and Sports, Sunday Dari, recognizes the fact that para sports, has brought home the most medals ever since they started Paralympics and other international sports. And that's to show you that sometimes these authorities know that there is this talent, they know that there is this gift, there is this competence, but we hope they are listening, we hope they are watching, and they'll be able to do something to help this beautiful, beautiful athlete. Okay, so moving on very quickly, I want us to give our word of advice to women with disabilities, especially young women with disabilities who are thinking of sport. What would you advise them to do? How would you advise them to take their steps? And I will start this time with Coach Omolola. If you are there, advise young women, you know, who would want to be like you, attend international competitions, national competitions, and, you know, choose sports as a career. What would be your word of advice to them?
The only advice that I can advise people on physical challenge, as you put it in physical challenge, is that they should try to come out. In particular, our parents, they should stop telling their children, stay indoors, don't come out. If they have the people like that, they should let them to come out. Because for let me use my own experience, my mom refused to let me go out. Because I decided not to go out. That's the major problem we have. But if the government can sponsor these people, I don't think that is not for them not to sponsor us. Because now I have the athletes that I am training. But unfortunately, the athlete decided not to come to training again. I asked her why. She was telling me, we're supposed to be collecting money every weekend, every Friday. I said, with my own salary, how much is my own salary? I am the service officer. I should the little money that I'm collecting, I should be giving you people as focus money. I said that's what I love. Even when I was still doing my own sport, no of my coach give me money. The problem they are facing in this country is our government. They should try to do something about what they can do for us. Especially we disability that we are having disability in this country.
So if I get what Coach Omolola just talked about very correctly, she talked about the fact that she would just advise parents who have young children. Well, young children are young, children are old, depending. So who have women with disabilities, children with disabilities, who would like to go into sports, that such parents should not be afraid to let their kids out. And she would also implore women with disabilities to put the career, the passion first. I'm thinking that's what she meant when she was talking about somebody requesting for money before coming out to train. Sometimes you need to be passionate about these things and make use of available resources that could help you, even when the government seems not to be forthcoming. Trust me, at some point, you would be discovered and the medals would definitely roll in. So the same line of question to Evelyn, what would be your word of advice to women with disabilities, to the government, to anybody you would like to advise when it comes to para sports?
Okay, the first thing I'm going to say is to ladies with disability, there's future for you in sports. But like you rightly said, you don't have to think about the financial benefits first. We that are actually involved in sports in Nigeria as challenged persons go through a lot. Sometimes getting sponsors for major competitions I've had that too, and I did feel bad. There have been times where I felt like quitting. I've had qualifications to go for international competitions, and then you don't get sponsored. At the end of the day, because you don't have sponsors, you
Female.
can't go. It's really painful. It's just like when you read for an exam. On getting to the exam hall, you are told that you don't have this or you have not paid your fees. You can't write. There's no way you can bend the rules. But if you look at those of our colleagues outside Nigeria, they get opportunities to get sponsors. The level of sponsorship the able-bodied athletes get, it's not the same level of sponsorship the challenge people get. I'm saying this as an athlete, and I believe that there's always room for improvement. The government have started doing some things,
Female.
but I believe there's room for more. Not just the government, we have private individuals who can come in and sponsor. There's this stuff called
Female.
adopt an athlete. The private investors can adopt an athlete. You can adopt a challenge athlete or adopt two of them. With time, when there's good sponsorship, no athlete would fail. One thing we are lacking as challenge people is a lot of us don't enjoy sponsorships. You see companies endorsing
WhatsApp.
able-bodied
Checking for
athletes.
new
How
messages.
many companies do we have in
Female.
Nigeria that have endorsed challenge persons who are actively involved in sports? I don't think they're up to 5. That too would help encourage people to come into sport. Now, a lot of challenge
WhatsApp
persons are the
messages from
breadwinners of
contacts.
their home. Okay, most of them take care of themselves. They don't have anyone providing for them. That's why some of their parents, when you want to train their kids, they'll ask you how much you go
Female.
give my pikin if they start to come. You don't have to think about the money first. There's always a price you have to pay for you to achieve something. Let's learn to think about the future benefits, not what you are seeing right now. Not that. You don't have to think about what is in front of you. You think about what's in front. When I talked earlier, I did talk about the challenge I faced in school, challenge I faced in sports. When I started, I know many times I fell from the wheelchair and I hurt myself. I know many times I've injured myself, but that didn't stop me because there's always a price to pay. So, as challenge persons, especially ladies,
WhatsApp business.
there's
Checking for new
future in
messages.
sports. You have to be able to bear the
Female.
thorns
WhatsApp
of
business. Checking
difficulties
for
that
new
is
messages.
associated with sports for the time being, because what's in front of you is always great. Everybody has a sad story, but
Female.
perseverance is what turns every sad
Female.
story around. That's all I have
All
to say.
right. Thank you very much, Evelyn, for that passionate word. You were really eating some parts of my soul. And well, she said it all. She said so much to the government to comfort and sponsor it. Very
Female.
quickly, let's give Justina the opportunity to, give a word of advice as a way of a parting shot.
My word of advice to women and girl child who are willing to come into sport is for them to be focused. First, you have to have the passion of what you intend doing, then remain focused, and everything will be history, because nothing good comes that easy. And also to the government, they should try as much as possible to try and provide us with the right implements. Then private individual too should please help in sponsoring those living with disability, because you see, even the able bodies, they have sponsors, they travel now all the time. But for those living with disability, it's very difficult. Please, we call on both the private and government to help so that we get to, as in, we are able to get these competitions by way of rendering sponsorship to each and every athlete. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much,
That is all I
Justina.
have
She
to
talked
say.
about, all right, thank you.
Battery power.
Okay, so to my co-host, Frecky, what would you like to say?
I want to ask every one of the women, on this call, Tina, Evelyn, what would you say is the benefit of being in sports? Some of you have been there for over 20 years. Some of you have been there for over 10 years. Why are you still there? Any challenges are so many. What are the benefits? Because the benefits, I know that, monetary wise, it should not be at the fore. But what would you say is one benefit, one thing you have benefited from being a woman with disability in sport?
One benefit why I'm still there is I love what I'm doing. That's the fact. If I don't love it, I won't still be there. It's me bringing out putting passion to what I love. Playing table tennis is my passion, okay? And there are some other financial benefits too, but because it's what I love, even though the financial benefits sometimes might be very annoying, I don't let it get to me because it's what I love.
My benefit so far is the passion I have, because when it comes to in terms of financial aspects, I will not say I've really benefited anything, even though I've been bringing medals for the state I represent. But I love what I'm doing. I have passion as a thrower. I love carrying weights. I love being under my implements. So that's really is enough for me. I love what I'm doing. That is why I'm still there. If not, I would have been out since. Thank you.
Okay. Wow. Listening to some of you, I think me, I've already said 4 things because it's straight.
You
What
must
I'm hearing
join.
is not
As young and freaky,
not
you
encouraging at all.
must join.
But
You are joining.
hold on, but
Freaky,
to
you said you want to
It's
play
health-wise.
badminton.
no, let me explain. Think that I played sports until I had this accident, and then afterwards I'm not playing sports. It's very weird, isn't it?
It's annoying. It's annoying. Impossible.
I don't know. But so it's very hard to
Impossible.
I think I'll stick to sports inside my bedroom.
Health-wise.
Let me do the one inside my
No,
bedroom.
don't be
Because this
doing
other one,
inside
I'm
your
happy
bedroom.
with what people are
Okay,
thinking.
you are
But
you want
know,
you are
I'm
for
not-
the money.
wait, I'm not just the money. I must commend you people for the fact that you keep going, in spite of all the challenges we have had. Because believe me, it's beyond annoying. Annoying is a nice way of putting it. Because I can't imagine the effort you put in, and you go out there, give your very best, come back with medals, and then everybody, they collect the medals, and we make noise with it. Because I think in Africa, Nigeria has some of the best athletes, Paralympic athletes.
Yeah.
So, and then we go out there, come back, and then
Yes.
you're treated like nobody. So it's I really have to commend you for the way that you keep going. So what I would like to ask is this,
Yeah.
for any person, any young woman coming into sports, especially women with disabilities, apart from, how do they start? How do they start?
Okay. For starters, you want to start sports, you have to. There's so many. There's parachuting, there's para table tennis, there's powerlifting, there's throw, there's sitting volleyball, there's swimming, there's so many. There's bossy, there's
A
go
lot.
ball. All these, you have to be interested in one first. When you're interested, you have to look for where, basically in all the stadiums in Nigeria now, because of the flair for para sports, a lot of stadiums across Nigeria have some of these facilities. You have to get a coach, and then you speak to the coach. He looks at you and tells you if maybe you want to do karate, which is just demonstration, or judo for those that can stand. he knows that it's convenient for you with your disability, because as a disabled person, you are supposed to train with supervision from a coach, a qualified coach, to avoid injuries. Because as a challenged person, if you train without supervision, you are prone to injuries. Not all sports are convenient for each disabled type. We all have the sports we can do, and as individual, you yourself, you know the one you fit do. You know one go do, let me use slang, no go do over sabi. You're not trying to impress anyone. When you're doing sports, know the one that is convenient for you and the type of disability you have. When you've dot the i's and cross the t's, if you're able to afford, you can get the equipment you want to use. You start with the one you can afford per time. You cannot say you want to come and start table tennis, you don't know how to serve, you want to go and buy the rubber they are selling 80,000. No, you are jumping. You start per time with the little one you can, and then as you progress, your equipment keep moving, you keep acquiring. And before you know it, we all have different levels of learning. Some people, 3 months, they started going for competitions because they have the zeal and passion for it. So I'm expecting you and Afyon,
Yeah.
Vicky and Afyon, in the
Okay,
next
ma.
para game. Yes.
Thank you. We did
Thank
talk
God
for
my
road.
name was
I
not
was not
mentioned.
there for
Thank
road.
God. Thank
Tina,
God.
Tina, do you have anything to add to that? Is there anything you want to add to that about, what
Yes,
a woman with disability should do?
thank you. My sister has said it all. First and foremost, you have to discover what you can do, what sports you actually have passion for. Because I myself, as heavyweights, I cannot just go and start swimming because I do not have the passion for swimming. So you have to discover your skills, your talent, your passion for what you want to engage yourself into. That is the first thing. Then you speak to the right person, that is a coach, because you can't just start training yourself. There are lots and lots of exercises that the coach will put you through before you start the major and training for that event you are about to venture into. Then thirdly, you have to be focused and determined. That is just how it starts. And from there, the sky is only the beginning of your success. Thank you.
So let me ask, how does one find a coach? Do you just go to, do you go to the ministry, or is
There are
there?
coaches at the stadium.
No.
There are coaches at the stadium.
You come to national stadium, you will
There are
get
coaches at the stadium.
Okay.
everywhere. If you walk into the
Even
national
if the
stadium,
coach is not there, you could get someone that will direct you to the coach.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you very much,
Over to you.
ladies. Thank you so much. Thank God I was not included in starting sports, so I can be minding my business, just minding the microphone. All right, thank you, ladies, for being on the program, and we want to salute your courage. We love you. We appreciate you. We celebrate you for every competition, every training, every thing you've done in the world of sports. You're still doing, and you will still do. We want to appreciate you. We celebrate you so much. You are a source of inspiration and motivation on the program today. Keep doing what you're doing, and someday, somehow, we'll sure get to celebrate you on the world stage as well. And Nigeria would come to that point where they begin to recognize their own, regardless of the disability, regardless of whether the person is with or without a disability. Inclusivity is what we also crave for in the sporting environment. And we call on the appropriate authorities to please do the needful. It's heartbreaking to know that you have, people who can shatter glass ceilings and you're not doing enough to encourage them. Private individuals who endorse, who sponsor, please pick up an athlete today, an athlete with a disability to sponsor, adopt an athlete, just like Evelyn said earlier on. Thank you, ladies, for coming. My co-host, thank you for always being there. To our listeners, our viewers at home, thank you for staying tuned, for sticking around. Please, let's continue to share, let's continue to like, let's continue to comment on every of our videos that come to your screen every other Saturday. 10:30 a.m. is the time on Facebook, Bold TV, on YouTube, Bold TV, brought to you by Bold Heart Initiative. So we come your way again next week with another interesting edition, with another informed co-host who will take you through the journey of another topic. This is beautiful, outstanding ladies with disabilities, and we are saying bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.